Yes, hello and welcome to Monday night's Evo Central. It's the new podcast show for the EFC. I'm your host, Bang Bang. This is where we're going to look at the results from the weekend just gone every Monday night, starting with this week. It just happens to be the first week of the finals for season 2009. It's been a great season, but we're 8 teams down and dropping like flies. But this week we're going to start with the first qualifying final on Friday night. It was the battle of second versus third, the Fusion and the Firebirds at Amy Stadium. Both teams were missing a host of stars. The Fusion were minus Brendan Goddard and Sam Fisher, and then Brad Sewell was a late withdrawal just before bounce down. For the Firebirds, they were missing Lenny Hayes, and you could also throw Daniel Bradshaw into the mix. And then their star captain, Nick Del Santo, was a late withdrawal. But the players coming in here really did tell the story on the night. The Fusion got up 145 to 134 to book a home prelim final in 2 weeks' time. They'll have the week off next week. It was really doubts about how the Fusion were going to cover the loss of their backline featuring Goddard and Fisher. Goddard's been arguably their best player this year, along with Sewell. But Scott McMahon and Kyle Cheney came in to make his EFC debut in a finals atmosphere, and 19 points and 17 points respectively by those two. They'd really held their own. Paul Hazelby came in for Brad Sewell in the midfield, so not too much loss there for the Fusion in that sense. Mitch Clark, top scorer with 22 points, continuing his brilliant rookie season, and Matthew Boyd chipped in with 21 points also. For the Firebirds, Jason Blake and Brett Delidio with 20 points apiece each backed up Shane Valenti, who played his first game for the Firebirds, with 22 points. He was a late inclusion for Nick Del Santo, so some players really taking their chances in the finals and being thrown straight into the cauldron and stepping up first week. But they should get, the Firebirds will be playing this week, they should get Del Santo back and Hayes, you'd think. Not sure where Daniel Bradshaw's at, but they've got Delidio and Stokes up forward there. But it was a great game in the end, only 11 points separating them. So Fusion miss next week. Firebirds hosting their semi-final next week, and they will be hosting the Sydney City Rage, who ran out winners against the South Melbourne Gladiators 134 to 91. A lot of controversy around the Gladiators. It's been much talked about here on the podcast. Peter Bell, in only his second game in charge of the Gladiators, really couldn't bring his charges up. They really missed Adam Simpson in the midfield, and the probably the biggest miss there was Paul Chapman in the forward line. Nathan Cracker came in for the injured Paul Chapman, but he was unable to produce really anything. He only scored 3 points. Pavlich was down. Rioli came in for his first game in a while and was down. Cade Simpson was really their only player on the day, the only one that turned up and was willing to attack. 22 points to him. But from the winners, Greg Broughton has probably played his best game for the Rage in the finals in his rookie season. All these rookies really starting to put their stamp on the league, and 28 points to Greg Broughton, 10 points in the last quarter, really put them over the line and made sure that they were going to win comfortably. He was well backed up by Paul Duffield running off the back line with 23 points, and Mark Murphy in the midfield as usual. He got his usual 21 points. So, the only real danger sign there for the Rage was that Steve Johnson, a notable finals performer, only got the 2 points. So he'll be looking to improve next week, and they're away to the Firebirds, as I said, in the first semi-final next week. On to Saturday night was a second qualifying final. The table toppers, South Adelaide Stingrays, were hosting the Knockout Cup champions, Canberra War Dogs, and the War Dogs continued their form from last week to post a 152-127 upset win. And they're all guns a-blazing at the moment. The War Dogs probably playing the best football out of any of the sides in the final, so they actually go on now to host the other prelim final against the winner of Sunday's game from the weekend. good better performance for the War Dogs. Didak got his 26. Brendan Favola got 23. Dane Swan got 21. Just the usual performers there. Jess White played a brilliant game in the ruck too, with 17 points. But really a real team effort there. All the usual contributors. And for the Stingrays, a little bit disappointing. The captain Ablett only got 15 points. Joel Salwood got 22. Justin Sherman 18, both in the midfield. So they were the better players for the Stingrays, but they'll be very disappointed with that. They still they didn't make the finals in 2007, but they dropped out in straight sets last year. So they'll be really hoping to bounce back this week and make sure that it doesn't happen again. Yet to win a finals game in the club's history. They will be playing the winner of Sunday's game, which was the Subiaco Vipers, in a really tight one, 124 to 123 over the Melbourne Dragons, who can now start their Mad Monday celebrations. I'm sure they're well into it right now. For the Vipers, they had a few outs as well. Darren Jolly was a late withdrawal. It was a bit 50-50 whether he was going to play anyway, but he was a late withdrawal for the Vipers. Todd Goldstein came in to make his debut. Another one of these rookies that's just taken the game by the scruff of the neck. 24 points, was the best player on the ground. So interesting to see what the Vipers will do this week if Darren Jolly's available. But also Nick Rewalt, one of their star players, was also omitted this week for an injury. Alwyn Davey came back into the side and didn't really perform there. He only got 6, so you'd see Nick Rewalt coming back this week. Sam Mitchell was another good one in the midfield with 20 points. They're also missing Shane Tuck out of their midfield. He's been out for the last couple of weeks, so a few injury concerns there for the Vipers. Should have a couple more of their stars available this week. But for the Dragons, they've been without Josh Fraser in the ruck for a few weeks, and that's really hurt them. But really lack of forwards. Brett Prismal was thrown into... He'd be uncomfortable in the forward line, but he had to play in the forward line alongside Scott Stevens, and that didn't really work for the Dragons. Gary Lyon there was trying something, running out of options. Their best player was Heath Shaw with 20 points. Jared McVeigh had 19 points to three-quarter time, and he couldn't take any part in the final quarter, and he may have actually been the difference because he was in good form. He had 19 points, so he could have been the difference. It's just 1 point there. It went right down to the final siren, and heartache for the Dragons, triumph for the Vipers. They move on to the next round. We will talk more in depth about the two games this week on Thursday night's podcast, but basically you're looking at Saturday evening's twilight game will be the Eastern Firebirds hosting the Sydney City Rage, and on Saturday night the South Adelaide Stingrays will host the Subiaco Vipers. So more stuff to talk about then. We're back on Wednesday night for the Big Footy Fix, so stay tuned for that one. Until then, peace out.
Yesterday's too long ago. Don't agree with what I know. Tomorrow